Very patient first stroke from the Nautilus crew, Adrian.
Well, very much so. The Spanish crew were onto their second stroke much quicker, but the rate's up and the crews are attacking the start very well.
And, well, I love to watch Arthur Doyle, the stroke of the Nautilus 8. We saw him last year. I know we were chatting about that Princess Elizabeth race. Well, the camera's riding with the stroke of the Spanish 8. That's Javier Garcia in the stroke seat. As you can see, if you're watching, it's the Spanish who have a 2-foot lead at this stage at the start of the race. I suspect, I mean, just looking over the top of them, Nautilus looks so smooth, don't they? I mean, they're just going to go straight through the Spanish.
I've got to say, it does look like it. They just seem to be sitting nice and tall and really getting the pressure on the legs nice and early and just moving away as they transition into their race pace. Yeah, canvas lead.
Yeah, we had a shot there of Arthur Doyle, stroke of the St. Paul's 8, and Bobby Thatcher, who's got a very successful St. Paul's crew, competing here, one today, will be racing, I think, the Australians tomorrow. Was just saying he's pretty much irreplaceable, that lad. And, well, he's there in the purple top. He rose, or did his rowing this year, I think, at Harvard. The two men behind him from Yale University. And then Morgan Helen in the middle of that boat, Adrian. Of course, remember him from the Cal Barkley crew that came over and won the Visitors Challenge Cup last year. Morgan Helen in the middle of that Nautilus boat. Do you think the Spanish stand any chance against a crew with oarsmen of that quality?
It does seem like there's going to be a walkover here by the crew of Nautilus. Those guys obviously very used to winning races. Here in the Spanish crew, they came 6th at the Olympic qualification regatta, so failed to qualify. And in fact, 2 of the guys in the crew here, Cantejo and Montes, 5 and 7, are from the 4, which also failed to qualify. So you can see the standard of this sort of composite 8 is really very high.
Yeah, and it's packed with Henley winners. I mean, Doyle in the stroke seat. Arthur Doyle, he won the Princess Elizabeth Cup. The man behind him, Rob Hearn, won the Ladies' Plate with Yale. What a fantastic race that was. And then Sholto Carnegie. Well, you can see Rob Hearn there with the shades on and the blue cap backed. Sholto Carnegie, you can't quite see. He's probably got the pink of the Leander Club. But Sholto Carnegie, he won the Fawley Challenge Cup here in the quadruple sculls. I mean, you know, we could go back Morgan Helen behind them, Visitors Fours winner. This is a British 8 that is stacked with talent. And I just wonder, their job, Adrian, Pete Shepherd, how do you put an 8 together like this, you know, in a short space of time?
I think that the interesting thing about this is the challenge that the British team have, and all the countries do, the fact that there's some great education on offer. And some of these boys can go for free to study in the US, and they're racing in fast 8s every week when they're in the summer, and it shows. These guys are used to rowing in fast 8s, and it's good to bring them back and get them rowing for the country.
So we're looking at the crew from Sevilla in the south of Spain on the right of your picture as the drone flies over them. They are the Spanish crew. Didn't quite find enough speed to get into the Olympic regatta in Rio, and the crew at the top of your picture, the men from Nautilus Rowing Club, essentially Britain's under-23 8 designate with the World Under-23 Championships in Rotterdam. And they have really just, they weren't flustered on the side, took a lot of time on their first stroke, and then very patiently just built a lead from about sort of 45 seconds onwards where they went through the Spanish, and they're in a commanding position. They haven't quite dropped the rating. They're still sort of fairly pacey out front, Adrian.
Yeah, I guess because it's their first row, they were quite patient and not taking any risks on the first few strokes, and now they're just trying to have a proper run out. I guess maybe they've been given orders to race to a certain marker down the course.
So the man there with the black and white top, Matt Benstead from Molesey, former Hampton schoolboy, did a lot of his rowing at Princeton, and he's now come back. And, well, you can see the 5-man in the British 8, Morgan Helen, also with a Molesey top on. I had dinner down at Deal not too long ago. It just happened that on the table next to us was his dad, I think Paul, and he was dead chuffed that his son won at Henley. And it was, I think, Morgan Helen who was steering the boat. They did have a little bit of steering difficulty, if memory serves, in that final. But no such problem today, because Sam Royston, the cox of the British team, learnt his coxing at Monmouth Comprehensive School, is steering a fantastic course down that Berkshire side of the booms.
And you've got to say, with our British 8 being so competitive for the medals, this is very promising for Tokyo. These young guys knowing how to win races and competing at this level.
So how many? You've got the University of London oarsman Rich Clark there. I mean, how many of these guys realistically will be in the Olympic team? Because I know a lot of them just don't want to go into Caversham. They see it as a meat grinder. They see it as, you know, some place that they're going to get chewed up and spat out, or it's going to be really boring. And I know that's put a lot of young oarsmen that have come through the American system, Adrian.
I think it's a difficult choice, isn't it? Centralisation seems to work for national teams, and the boys need to decide how much they want to be successful. And, you know, trying to win in the Olympic Games is not something that comes easily.
So there's a shot in yellow of the Spanish crew from Club Nautico Sevilla and Real Circulo Labradores. And a lot of the British rowers, of course, go down and train on the beautiful water, the Guadalajara in Sevilla, and it's great to go down in February, get a bit of warm weather training, just sharpen yourselves up. Or at Easter time, it's pretty hot in the summer. The Germans go there, the Dutch go there, the Swiss have gone there, so you can now see the Nautilus crew pretty much ease down, Adrian. Yeah,
it looks like they've raced to a certain marker and they're now just paddling, doing as little as they can and just making the most of this. These boys now can really enjoy the applause going down the enclosures because they're not racing.
Well, it looks like they're not racing, although they've done all their work earlier, and you saw it when you're watching this presentation on BT Sport this afternoon with myself, Martin Cross, and next to me, Adrian Cassidy, former world junior champion and British international oarsman. So, Nautilus, the British under-23 designate, crossed the line, and behind them, the Spanish from Seville. Well, they fought gainfully all the way down the course, but Spanish rowing yet to find its mojo back. Did win medals in the 80s, but not doing so at the moment. So, confirmation, Nautilus beat Sevilla in the Grand.